Okay, so what did we study in a previous lecture? Can you all recall?
Difference amplifier.
Difference amplifier, okay. And what was the specialty of this difference amplifier? What did we learn about it? Amrut, what did we learn about it? You're there, Amrut?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the specialty of differential amplifier? Like, what are its features?
Previous class I did not attend, sir.
Sorry, come again. Previous class you didn't attend.
No, sir.
You need to be regular to classes, right?
Sir. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else wants to answer that?
Voltage gain is high, sir.
Okay. And then, like, what is the basic thing, Sidhu? What are we looking at? When we talk about difference amplifier, like the basic functionality. You can see the circuit here, right? So the basic functionality.
The difference between the voltages gets amplified.
Good, good. So the differences between the voltages are amplified. So how do we suffice our answers? So we have seen that previously that our output voltage is nothing but R2 by R1 into V2 minus V1. So you can see that there's a difference here between the voltages V2 and V1. So this is exactly what is called difference amplifier. And we have also seen summing circuits where the output is actually the sum of all the three or two inputs. For let's take three inputs, and that is divided by 3, right? So based on how many inputs I'm having, and I can calibrate my gain. So if I make my gain is equal to 3, then that divided by 3, which was there, V1, V2, V3 divided by 3. Okay, so the 3 and 3 gets cancelled, and my output remains V1 plus V2 plus V3. Able to recall?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So with this concepts in mind, okay, we will just move forward with few more concepts associated with difference amplifier. So we've got something called input resistances. Okay, so as you can see here, we have R1, R3, R4. Okay, and R2 is nothing but your feedback resistance, right? Okay. So one problem with selecting difference amplifier resistors as R3 is equal to R1 and R4 is equal to R2. Usually what we do is, we were taking these combinations, right? Where R3 and R1 are equal, R4 and R2 are equal. So we take this combination in consideration. Okay. So if I take this into my consideration, then what is going to happen to my R1 and R4? So R1 is going to be different and R4 is going to be different. So which means my input resistance, see, you can see that you have R3 and R1 same, right? So the remaining is R4 and R2. R4 and R2, right? So R2 is equal to R4, R1, R2 are R1, R3 are same. So if I see in this fashion, what is happening to my input resistances? R1, R3 and R4, they are not equal, right? So the resistances are unequal. So usually, we were discussing that we need to have same resistances Remember, we had discussed about it. We need to have same resistances, same level of inputs. Okay, so in that way, what is going to happen? There is not going to be any difference between uh, the inverting and non-inverting terminals. Do you all recall that concept? When we talked about input impedance previously, do you all recall that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So this will not present any problem. What is not going to present any problem if in case I'm having this combination here, which is R3, R1, R4, R2. If I'm going to have this combination, it's not going to have any impact if and only if, okay, there's a condition here, if and only if we are looking at the signal source resistance being very small. Okay, so we used to have this RS, right? So RS is nothing but your signal resistance. So if the signal resistances are too small, then this particular combination is not going to affect the circuit. Okay, so these should be much smaller than the input resistances. So input resistances, what are those? R1, R3, and R4. Okay, also it is usually desirable to have R3 is equal to R1 and R4 is equal to R2 in order to equalize the resistance at each input terminal of the op-amp to minimize input offset voltages. So in order to minimize input offset voltages, okay, now this is important here, minimizing input offset voltages, we need to take up this combination, right, which is R3 and R1 being same, R4 and R2 being same. Now can you tell me what is input offset voltages? What is this input offset voltage? Remember previously, in our lectures, we had, discussed about the impedances, right? We had discussed about input offset voltage, output offset voltage. So the amount of changes that happens, okay? So the slight amount of changes that happens is nothing but called offset. Okay, so due to this change in resistances, what is going to happen? There is going to be a change in the input levels, and this slight change, the delta V, that is going to happen is nothing but called offset voltages. Can you recall? Yes, can you recall those concepts which we discussed?
Yes.
So ultimately, thank you. So ultimately, what is going to happen because of the differences in input voltage, that is going to impact my output voltage as well, right? Okay. So moving on, we have some formulas. So there are two important things to be considered. Okay. So the first one is nothing but called differential input resistance. Okay. And the other one is common mode input resistance. You would have studied this in your basic electronics, right? Differential input, common mode input. So the resistances associated with these combinations are called differential input resistance, common mode input resistance. Okay. So consequently, they are associated with their resistances, and it is called RI diff, okay, which is input resistance because of differential input, and then it's called RI input resistance because of common mode input resistance, right, because of the common mode configuration. Now let us see what is this differential input resistance and what is this common mode input resistance. So question can be asked with regards to this. So I have carried forward the same diagram. Okay, so what diagram is this, students? It's the diagram of, is it the diagram of summer, or is it the diagram of differential amplifier, or is it just an op-amp, a normal op-amp?
And differential amplifier.
Differential amplifier. And also, yeah, and also it is one of the configurations of op-amp. right? So specifically talking, it is a differential amplifier. Good. So we are looking at two kinds of combinations here, as I mentioned previously, right? Number one is going to be the differential combination, and the other one is going to be the common mode configuration. So now let us see one by one as to what these are referring to us. It is the resistance offered to a signal source that is connected directly across the input terminals. So input terminals are here, inverting and non-inverting. So those resistances which are associated with the inputs. So what are those? I have R1, right? I have R2, R3, and I have R4, right? So these are the three resistances which are associated towards my inverting and non-inverting terminals, right? So I add them up together, okay? R1, R2, R3, R1, R3, and R4. So this is going to give me my differential input. So R2 is taken as the negative feedback here. Fine. So differential input, the resistances across the inverting and non-inverting terminals. So the addition of them are called differential input resistance. Any doubts here?
Sir, is it the definition that we are adding them, or what is the reason we are adding?
This is because we have the inputs in the negative terminal and in the positive terminal, right? So whatever is the resistances that we have, so those are being added. So I'm going to get a cumulative resistance value. Cumulative means I'm going to get the addition of R1, R3, R4. So how much resistance is across my input, irrespective of inverting or non-inverting terminal, right?
Yes, sir, got it.
See, because let me show you. See what is going to happen. Now this is my input side, isn't it? See the highlighted portion? That's my input side, isn't it? Right?
Yes, sir.
So what are those resistances connected? I have this R1, right? Because it is passing through here, isn't it?
Yes,
It's
sir.
passing through here. Then I have R3. Okay, that's also connected to my non-inverting. Then also I have this R4. So all these three resistances are actually affecting how the input is accepted into my op-amp, right? So in this way, or you can take it in the other way. Differential amplifier is nothing but what differences in the input. So what are the inputs here? Negative terminal and the positive, the inverting and the non-inverting terminal. What are the resistances connected to these inputs? R1, R3, R4. So I have a combination of them, and I will say that anyway my op-amp is working in differential mode, isn't it? It's going to see the differences between the inputs, and then it's going to get amplified, right? So those resistances which are in the input lines, negative, in the non-inverting and the inverting terminal, right? We cumulate them, and we term them as differential input resistance. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, fine. So next, now let us look into common mode input resistance. So when I say common, okay, so common is also referring to the ground. Okay, so it is the resistance offered to a signal source connected between ground and both input terminals, right? So the resistance, okay, the signal resistance is the resistance. Just a moment. Yeah, it's the resistance offered to a signal source connected between ground and both input terminals. So we have to see something in between ground and also between the input terminals. Okay, so what are those resistances? Again, we have the same thing, R1, R3, and R4. But then right now, since we are connecting them to ground, they're going to become in a parallel combination, as you all have studied, right? So R1, just assume that the voltage is given here, right? It's across ground, and then I have my R3 and R4. Now this R3 and R4 can be added, and this becomes in parallel, okay, in parallel with the addition of R3 and R4. Okay, so R1 in parallel with R3 and R4. Remember these formulas, okay, because we will be using them for solving problems. So differential input resistance is nothing but the addition of all the input resistances, and common mode is where R1 becomes parallel with the summing of R3 and R4, because R3 and R4 are together connected to where?
The non-inverting term.
Correct. Together they are connected to non-inverting. So that becomes as a combination to the other terminal, right? So hope this concept is clear. Can we move on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So make note of this. Two important formulas: differential input, common mode input. So differential is when I'm considering both of my terminals, but I'm not taking ground into consideration. My concentration is only on the resistances. Okay, what resistances are connected, how much of resistance is offered. But here in common mode, I am calculating with respect to ground. Okay, with respect to ground, and of course, you know, R3 and R4 are added, and that becomes in parallel with R1. So it is, you know, like this. You can probably drag it down. Okay, this resistance you can drag it down, and then, you know, this resistance also you can drag it down. So you get this combination where R1 is parallel with the addition of R3 and R4. So having these formulas in mind, okay, so we will move forward. So I have, I have tried to, retain the diagram here, okay, for the simplicity of, explaining concepts, so that we don't have to, get back, to our previous slides. In fact, these diagrams are the same which we saw previously in a previous lecture. This is the basic differential amplifier circuit and some modifications done, which we will be looking into now. Right. So this is your difference amplifier, okay, the common mode voltages. So we are looking at the common mode voltages. As we saw, we had differential mode and we had common mode, differential mode, common mode. So when I say common mode, we are referring to the ground, okay, with respect to ground and the inputs given and the resistances. So we have already seen that, V0 is equal to R2 by R1 divided by V2 minus V1. So where we have seen this formula? Where is that formula seen?
Sir, in the differential amplifier.
Correct. This is nothing but the formula, the output voltage of differential amplifier, R2 by R1, V2 minus V1. Good. So for this condition to happen, for this V0 to happen, we had assumed that, R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1. If you can just flip back your pages and see your notes, right? So you will see that we had taken R4 by R3, the ratios, okay, the ratios of R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1. Okay, so these ratios we had taken it to be equal. So that, if there is a small difference in R1, then probably R2 I can increase. If there's a difference in R3, or say that R3 has become a little higher, I can make R4 less. So you can assume that, these two are working in sync, and R1, R2 are working in sync with each other. If the ratios are not equal, okay, now if the ratios are equal, fine. Okay, we don't have any issues. What ratios we are talking about? We are talking about this R4 by R3 and R2 by R1, right? So there can be some instances where both resistance values will not be the same. Okay, so because of this, the offset voltage is going to create input offset voltage. So why is this happening? Because of, you know, the tolerance differences that we have in resistance. Now, do you remember, you know, when you calculate the resistance value, or when you see this BB ROI, right? When you see that, you know, color coding of your resistance, you have something called tolerance. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tolerance. So you will have gold, silver, and all those stuff, right? So that is referring to plus or minus 5%, plus or minus 10%, right? So because of these tolerances, what is going to happen? Your you know, the resistances at the input terminals are not going to be the same. They're going to be different. Okay. So if the ratios are not equal, which means I'm talking of R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1. So if these ratios are not fine, then what's going to happen? One input voltage will be amplified by a greater amount than the other, and the common mode voltage at one input will be amplified by a greater amount than the same amount of common mode voltage at the other input. So what is this happening here? Voltages across the inverting terminal and voltages across the non-inverting terminal are going to be different, just because of these resistance combinations R1, R2, R3, and R4. So because of the change in the combination of these resistors, okay, the value of these resistors, the voltages, okay, the voltage levels at the non-inverting and the inverting terminals are going to change, right? So usually we do not want these changes, right? So if I have plus 5 volts at the inverting terminal, okay, 5 volts here, I want even 5 volts to be here at my non-inverting terminal. That's how it should work, isn't it? That's how my op-amp should work. But then here, practically speaking, I cannot accomplish this. Why cannot I accomplish this? The main important reason I told you is because due to the resistance tolerance. Okay, so I cannot have an exact value of my resistor. There can be a little bit, you know, plus or minus here and there. Fine. So consequently, common mode voltages may not be completely cancelled. So what is this completely cancelled? Can someone tell me? What is this completely getting cancelled? What is it referring to? Yeah, what is it referring to?
Sir, is it referring to like we had cancelled R2 minus R1 and R2 minus R1 during the derivation?
It is referring to the voltages here at my inverting and non-inverting terminal. So usually what will happen, plus or minus, they get cancelled out, right? But here, due to the difference in these voltages at the inverting and non-inverting terminal, fully they do not get cancelled. Say maybe plus 6 and minus 5. What is going to be the value? Plus 6 and minus 5. What's going to be the value? 1, right? So which means I am actually expecting 0, but then due to the change in these resistances, I'm getting 1, because voltage at this is different and voltage at my non-inverting line is different. Why is that happening? Because of these resistances, right? Because of the resistances. So I'm not able to cancel out each other just because they are not same. That is what I'm trying to say, right? So common mode voltages may not be completely cancelled, but there will be some amount of voltage, like how we had plus 6 and minus 5, we have 1 volt remaining, right? So this 1 volt gets into your op-amp and then the amplification happens, and then yeah. One way of maximizing the common mode rejection of a difference amplifier is shown in the diagram, right? So I'm referring to this diagram here, where we are looking at some kind of minute changes, okay, that we are incorporating, okay, so that it can be programmed. Okay, so this is nothing but the common mode nulling and level shifting. So we have something called VB, bias voltage, right? So using this bias voltage, I will be able to alter how much of resistance my R4 is going to offer. And once I get to know what is R1 and R2's ratio, that is R2 by R1, I will get some value. Let's say I'm having a different value for R4 and R3, but what is our condition? Our condition is that both of these ratios should be the same. So I should have some altering knob or kind of mechanism where I can actually change the resistance. So this is the mechanism that I am talking about, right? Which is nothing but the level shifting and the common mode nulling type of setting, right? So this VB is referring to the bias voltage. Okay, fine. So what can I do? I can change the value of R4, right? So indirectly I'm changing the ratio of R4 by R3 and trying to equate it with R2 by R1. So thereby what is going to happen? If I have a perfect match of these resistances, I'm going to get a perfect output voltage, which is actually a difference between V2 minus V1. Is that clear, students? Yes. One way of maximizing the common mode rejection of a difference amplifier is as shown here. The R4 resistor is made up of a fixed negative value resistor and a much smaller adjustable resistor. So this is an adjustable resistor. This allows the ratio R4 by R3 to be adjusted closely to R2 by R1 in order to null the common mode output voltage to 0. So ultimately we need the output voltage to get nullified. Okay, so nullified means the differences we are trying to make them same, plus and minus. So if the differences at the inputs are same, then what is going to happen? My output voltage is going to be 0. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So this is the small mechanism, right? So it says modifications for common mode nulling and DC level shifting. So small resistor, adjustable resistor, and the voltage biasing. So because of which we are able to match up to R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1. So these resistor ratios can be met. Fine. So the next one, that we'll be looking into is output level shifting, right? Output level shifting. So the same circuit I have brought in here, okay, both the circuits, so that it becomes easy for us to understand the concepts, right? So two important formulas here, okay, V plus and V naught. These are the two major formulas, and then once we substitute this, we get V naught is equal to VB. So my output voltage will be directly dependent on VB, right? So let's see them one by one. So we'll look into the figure, which is at the bottom. Okay, so we saw this R4 is a variable resistor, and it is connected to a bias voltage, which is VB. So usually this R4 used to be grounded, but then right now it is connected to an adjustable resistor and to a voltage which is called VB. Okay, so assuming both the input voltages are 0, so let us assume that V1 and V2 both are 0, and that VB is 1 volt. Okay, so we'll assume VB is equal to 1, and the voltages given across these inverting and non-inverting is 0. The voltage at the op-amp non-inverting input terminal is, so if I want to calculate the voltage at the non-inverting terminal, so I put it as V plus. V plus is equal to VB into R3 divided by R3 plus R4. Okay, so which means it is very much dependent on R3. Okay, so VB into R3 divided by the combination of R3 plus R4. Okay. right? The output voltage moves to the level that gives equal voltages at the inverting and non-inverting input terminals. That is right, isn't it? We have seen that, we are trying to make V minus equal to V plus. So what is this V minus? This is nothing but the voltage across voltage at which terminal? Inverting or non-inverting? V minus.
Minus inverting.
Yeah, inverting. V plus non-inverting. So we want both the voltages to be same. And the output voltage becomes, okay, so the output voltage becomes V plus into, okay, so V plus means whatever is the voltage across these non-inverting terminal, okay, V plus into, this is not V plus R1, R2, no, V plus into, okay, V plus multiplied by R1 plus R2 divided by R1, okay, so the output voltage is dependent on R1 and R2. So the output voltage moves to the level that gives the equal voltages at the inverting and non-inverting terminal. So output is now very much dependent on R1 and R2. We have seen this also previously, right? So this R1 and R2 combination is impacting the ACL, which is nothing but the closed loop gain. Now to this, if we substitute R4 by R3 and R2 by R1, so this resistor ratio combination, if we put it here, okay, R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1, so they all get cancelled out, okay, they all get cancelled out, and we see that the output voltage is equal to VB, okay. Now what is here VB? VB is nothing but whatever potential that you have given at your level shifting. So remember these formulas, right? V plus is going to be dependent on R3, okay, and R4. Then V naught is going to be dependent on R1 and R2, okay. So when I have proper resistor ratios, I can make sure that my output is completely dependent on or is equal to the VB. Why is it equal to VB? Have we given any voltages across these inputs V1 and V2? Across inverting and non-inverting, have we given any inputs? Or is it zero? We are assuming that they are zero. Yes or no? And VB is how much?
Yes, sir.
1 volt. So these two conditions keep in mind. VB is 1 volt and both the input voltages are 0. So since the input voltages are 0, my output is completely dependent on whatever biasing that I have given here. So this biasing is how much? 1 volt. So which means my output is also going to be 1 volt. Okay. So keep in mind with what is V plus associated and with what is output associated, and if the resistor ratios are maintained. Okay, so when I say resistor ratios, I am actually referring to R4 by R3 is equal to R2 by R1. So if this resistor ratios are maintained, then my output here will be completely dependent on my bias voltage. Okay, so how is it important for us? How is this output voltage, when it's equal, how is it important? I can change the way that output voltage is, right? Just by varying my VB, So here, because of this resistor here, this adjustable resistor, I can make sure that, this condition is maintained. What condition is it? The resistor ratios are maintained. If in case the value of this ratio R4 by R3 is less, then I can probably increase it. If it is more, then I can decrease it, right? So ultimately my idea here is to have a proper resistor ratio and to make sure that my output is equal to bias voltage. So if I give 2 volts here, my V naught is also going to be 2 volts, right? So I want to have control on how much of voltages that I need across my output. Any doubts here? Students, any doubts?
No.
If any doubts, please
No.
ask. Yeah, so keep in mind what is V plus dependent on, what is V not dependent on, V not dependent on R1, R2, V plus dependent on R3, R4, right? And I'm making sure that with the help of this small mechanism here, the resistor ratios are made same. Because they are same, I'm going to have the output voltage exactly equal to bias voltage, VB. Fine. So the last thing that I have here is the circuit design. Okay, and probably in our upcoming class, we will look into the problems. We have two examples here. Okay, so we will look into that in our upcoming class. So right now we will discuss about the circuit design. Now we know that the design is very simple. We're going to have R1, R2, R3, R4, op-amp plus VCC minus VE, input the output voltage V0 with respect to ground, and input voltages V1, V2 both with respect to ground. So the design is very simple and plain, right? So one approach, we have two approaches here. Okay, one approach is to determine R1 and R2 exactly, okay, exactly as for an inverting amplifier. So we need to determine what is R1 and we need to determine what is R2. Okay, so one approach is to determine R1 and R2 exactly as for an inverting amplifier. So you can know the values of R1 and you can know the values of R2. Now, why are these two resistances important? Because it is very much dependent on output. Remember, in our previous slide, we have seen R1 and R2 helps in getting us the output voltage, right? The other approach here, okay, that we can look into is the selection of resistors. Okay, so how do we calculate these resistors? With the combinations, okay, with the combination of the ratios, right? So just have a look at it. Right, so we are looking at this combinations of resistor ratios R4 and R3. So if we can make them same R4, R3 and R2, R1, okay, then we can have a proper design. Okay, so the other approach is resistors are selected to give the ratios, okay, the R4 by R3 equal to R2 by R1, and usually R3 is equal to R1 and R4 is equal to R2. So this condition, okay, this condition you should always remember whenever designing a circuit. Okay, this condition is very much important. Ultimately, make sure the ratios are fine. Make sure that your R3 is equal to R1, and later you can think of making R2 equal to R4, right? So R1, R3 are equal, R2 and R4 are equal. So keep this in mind. If the circuit is to have a gain of 1, okay, now this is going to be very ideal state. Okay, if I need to have a gain of 1, then I need to make sure that all of my resistors are equal to each other. R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay, so three conditions here. Number one, we're looking at R1 and R2 to be same. Number two is the resistor ratios to be same and equating R3 and R1, R4 and R2 to be same. That is the second condition. Or you can, if you want the gain to be 1, just make sure that all the resistances are equal to each other. That's it, right? So this is how we design the differential amplifier. Okay, so in our next class, as I was mentioning, right, we will look into the problems. So these problems are associated with the formulas that we have just looked into, right? RDIF, which is R1, R3, R4, then common mode input, which is R1, in parallel with R3, R4, right? So we will see this in our upcoming classes, and we will have more insights on the formula, right? So any doubts here, students, till the concepts we discussed so far?
No, sir.
Fine. Okay. So we'll end this session then, right?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.